All right. Yeah.
So what I really liked about The Wolf Among Us is like sort of the different way that you guys took action, like the way, you sort of move the cursor to the thing and hit the button, and it got really frenetic. I think I've explained it exactly perfectly.
That's actually how I design it.
Yeah,
that's what you push a button and a thing happens in a thing. And
but I liked that the action was really, really dynamic. Is there a lot of dynamic action in this game as well?
Definitely.
Yeah. It's a Borderlands game. There's got to be crazy stuff going on. And one of the things we've always, I'm glad that people recognize it in Wolf, because figuring out how to do action and storytelling at the same time has been tricky to do, and without reverting to like traditional run-around video game. Like, we want to keep it very cinematic and have action sequences tell stories.
Yeah.
We got better between Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, and I think we're going to get better again as we move into Borderlands, because you got to have crazy over-the-top action scenes, or it's not a Borderlands game.
Right.
And a million guns. You have to have a lot of guns.
There'll probably
Totally.
be some guns.
Definitely. There'll definitely be. And I think that, our director, Nick Herman, for episode 1, he's very adamant that, like, we just don't do an action scene just because an action scene goes here. Like, let's make sure that there's a moment here. There's something, like, character-based here. It's not just action for action's sake. Like, that's definitely in Wolf, especially the opening fight with the woodsman. That's so, like, has so much context wrapped around it that you know exactly how to sort of feel there. And I think that that's something that we're learning as a company, just, like, make sure that it's not just action because people demand buttons to push. It, like, you really want to feel that action, so...
Do you run into characters from the other Borderlands games, or is this something that you can't
There will
say?
be. There will definitely be some Borderlands characters. There absolutely
Which
will be.
ones?
Your least favorite ones.
Yeah.
Only the ones you don't like.
All those weird NPCs that you don't know the names of in Sanctuary.
We check your forum post to see if you didn't like Tiny Tina, and then we put her only in the game.
Yeah, it's actually just 17 Tiny Tinas. We're
I'll
not
take
quite
that.
ready to mention that, but we're definitely going to have some loved Borderlands characters in. We wanted them to feel like a part of the game. One of the things I said earlier is I don't want this to feel like you're Don Knotts on a very special episode of Scooby-Doo, where you're just like, oh, I'm just sort of in their story. Like, it's not my story. I'm just following their, like, this is all the Borderlands characters, and I'm sort of hanging out with them, but I'm not really like a regular part of that story, which is how Don Knotts, I assume, feels all the time.
Most likely.
I bet most of these guys don't know who Don Knotts is. They didn't know
Come on.
X-Files.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well,
Don
okay.
Knotts.
your hand if you
Some
know
people
Don-
get it.
Don-
Where my Don Knotts fans
You're
at?
all
Where my
dating
Don Knotts
yourselves
fans
really
at?
badly right now.
That was beautiful. That was gorgeous to see.
Do you want to see a screenshot of an action sequence?
That's what I'm super excited
Yeah, let's see something.
This is it. This is our very first.
This is the first ever screenshot
This is the very
from
first
Tales from the
screenshot.
Borderlands.
What's going on here? Talk to us.
Yeah.
So, as you might be able to see here, our pal Reese
Wanna go point?
is controlling a loader bot and grabbing a psycho by the neck and being a jerk. So there's definitely action sequences. There's definitely cool stuff. Reese has special abilities. He's got a robotic arm for a very specific reason, which is that he likes to hack stuff. He's a hacker. He likes computers, and he's a big old nerd.
Yeah, he looks like all the nerds I know.
Yeah, he's a Borderlands nerd.
It's your average
And
gorgeous
so,
nerd.
we're going to give you, he hacks into machines and computers and stuff. And that's not the only thing. It's not like every time there's an action sequence, you're going to hack into something. But that's his, like, signature thing that he does. So there's going to be a lot of crazy action sequences where you do all sorts of crazy stuff. And this is the first screenshot, so there you go.
So his abilities are he can sort of hack and control. And so his fighting style seems to be more sort of hacking based. And what
It
about?
will be sort of. I think that, he's going to get physical. Get physical. He definitely doesn't just hack and then he just hides. There's going to be a lot of bandits in your face and bad guys trying to threaten you, and it's definitely not going to be I can stand behind this shield and the little robot takes all the damage and I don't have to worry about dying. It's going to be in your face. The sort of like standard Telltale style of guy gets in your face and tries to punch you, and it's not going to be like I can stay safe. But Fiona is going to be very similar. She can get her hands dirty. She lives on Pandora. You can't live in Pandora without knowing how to take care of yourself. The funny thing about Reese is that he's kind of an office boy. Like, you can see he's well dressed. He hangs out like on the Hyperion H. So he's kind of like doesn't really get his hands dirty that often. So he's going to kind of be a little bit more of a fish out of water. But he's going to find his feet relatively quickly. And same thing with Fiona, is that she's a little bit more rough and tumble, as you can see from the art, that she knows how to take care of herself. In a world where you're scamming people, getting a bruised lip happens pretty frequently, so it's not going to just be a hands-off sort of thing, you're going to definitely punch some guys in the face. Confirmed.
And it's nice to see the psychos. I missed seeing psychos.
There'll be a lot of those guys.
So, can you guys tell us, like, how many episodes are we looking at? When is it coming out?
It'll be coming out this year, and it'll be a fairly typical Telltale series, like you've seen before. And but we'll be announcing more specifics of it a little closer to the launch date. Those are familiar with Telltale. We announce dates very close to when the actual street
Earlier
date of
that day.
things is going to be. Yeah, like about 20 minutes beforehand. We'll let you know. But we're not ready to announce the release
But it is
date
this
yet.
year.
It'll definitely be this year.
And we don't know how many episodes yet.
We're almost ready to talk about how many episodes.
Okay, great. Should we take some questions from the audience? Do you guys have any? Yes, lady back there.
I think they're going to bring
and then
mics
I'll come to
around,
you.
hopefully.
Yeah, you.
Mike, is there a mic coming?
Oh,
You have
There
to
we go. We got
yell
mics.
really loud.
No, we got this.
there's so many mics coming.
I loved Borderlands 2, played it almost every weekend for like a year. And I'm really excited for this game, but my question was, I understand that the characters need to have darkness and there needs to be that sadness, but why did you have to kill Bloodwing? I cried.
I hope everybody
I
knows
know.
that.
You know what? I was going to ask that too. Why did you have to do that? You're a monster.
I actually did a talk at a grade school, and a 5th grade girl asked that same question with the same tone of voice.
Almost crying. Almost crying.
And what I told her is what I'll tell you. Why are you playing this game? You're too young. Don't
just
your
tell
parents
them-
know this is M-rated?
Yeah, people die, and kids should learn that lesson early.
Life sucks.
The legit reason is we wanted you to feel bad.
That's legit?
We,
That's
want,
a
we
legit?
wanted you. We wanted Handsome Jack's arc as the enemy because Handsome Jack was the whole point of that game was go find Handsome Jack and kill him. We wanted for the first half for you to think that this guy's kind of funny and I could stand to listen to what he has to say. I can deal with this dude. And then at the halfway point, the moment he kills Bloodwing, we wanted to go, never mind, fuck that guy. I'm going to do everything I have to kill him.
Yeah,
I'm
that
going to
should
heap
get
praise
an
on
applause. And it
Anthony
worked,
for a
clearly.
second, real quick. Handsome Jack's arc with the players is one of the coolest that I ever saw in a game because you do like him, and when he starts to hate you, you start to hate him, and it becomes an intimate and personal thing. You really get the sense that he hates you directly, and you really start to hate him directly. That's a really hard thing to do in a video game. It was really nice for that. We also want to remind the player, when you're surrounded by all these characters who've had these tragic, terrible lives, you can say that. You can easily say, hey, look how tragic this place is. But if you don't actually show the player and let them feel it, then it's really hard for you to believe it. So sooner or later, someone's got to die.
It is true that when we started, I was like, oh, this Handsome Jack, he's so clever and funny. I'm shocked. These people are just overreacting. But then, yeah, instantly the hatred begins to flow.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love these guys.
Oh, go ahead.
Ben, let's get...
So is this going to be released on the next generation systems as well as the current, Xbox One, PS4, as well as Xbox 360? And follow up, are you going to, for Telltale, are you guys going to re-release any of your stuff from the Xbox Live Arcade onto Xbox One?
Well, we're really not talking about any platforms right now, so I can't answer that. But
Any other
Sorry.
questions?
sorry.
There's
Coming to the
couple people
TI-85.
here. Oh, any of these folks?
As for Telltale, super excited for Borderlands. But what can you tell us about the Game of Thrones project?
About what?
Game of Thrones
What's Game
project.
of Thrones?
I got this.
don't know
I got
what that
this.
is.
I know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. I asked, they won't tell me, and if they won't tell me, they're certainly not going to tell you.
It's going to be awesome.
That sounds like a really good idea. No, we're not saying anything about Game of Thrones.
Let's do non-Game of Thrones based questions.
Game of Trains.
Yeah, that person.
So you showed us a little bit about what Reese could do and what his special ability is and everything.
pardon me, special ability. But you didn't really say anything about the female character. What does she do? What's her favorite weapon? What's
Sure, totally. We can talk about that. So Fiona, as you can probably surmise, is a grifter and a con artist, and she uses her words to confuse and sort of like make people go, oh, it seems to make sense. So we're sort of just calling it, we're calling it fast talk, where you just sort of are able to tell a ridiculous story and just steamroll the other person and just make them go, yeah, that seems to make sense, and then just sort of bounce before they realize that, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense at all. So she gets into situations and she takes a deep breath and goes, okay, let me tell the truth. And she's going, and everyone goes, yeah, okay, cool. I had a similar situation in my life. And she's like, oh, great, I gotta go. So she definitely uses her ability to bamboozle the local rubes to get kind of where she wants.
So she's a liar.
They're all liars.
They're all liars.
She's extra good at it.
Or whoever is easiest for you to get to.
So there are two characters that seem playable. Are they playable at the same time? Is there co-op of any kind? Because that's my favorite.
No.
Sad.
I don't know how co-op would work in a game like the kinds of games that you guys make. I can't even see in my head how that would.
It's a tough challenge for sure.
Yeah, it's something we think a lot about, and but we haven't dived into how co-op would work in a Telltale game yet.
I don't know where the mics are.
Just, yeah.
There we go. Blue jacket. Let's get it.
Hey,
Hello.
one character that we haven't talked about at all today is Claptrap. How big a role will Claptrap, if any, play in this Borderlands game? I know, one more follow-up question. Would you consider making a Kumail character equipped with a chicken sandwich?
Yeah, would you guys consider doing that? Let's talk
we
about
would
it in front of
consider-
100 witnesses right now. So you can't go back. I know
Hang on, so-
how to write liars. Can you?
Considering isn't necessarily, here's where fast talk starts. So considering isn't actually legally binding, right? So we can say, we'll consider it.
That high-pitched voice, that was pretty good.
The higher it goes, the less you believe it. I don't want to say specifically what character is going to be in the game, but it wouldn't be a Borderlands game without Claptrap. That's all I'll say.
I need a Claptrap
He's
spin-off.
not at the inventory playing poker anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's in Poker Night Inventory too. You should play that. It's good.
Microphones, there you go.
Yes.
Hair glasses.
Yes. I just want to ask, I know you guys had talked about it before, that's where you kind of got your start. Is there any hope that we might see another Sam & Max game in the near future?
Kevin.
We love Sam & Max. We have a great relationship with Steve. All the usual stuff around that, but we don't have anything to announce about Sam & Max right now. The Poker Night, has had Sam & Max in it. We very much love Sam & Max. We have not forgotten at all about Sam & Max, but we don't have anything to say about it right now.
That was like a Bill Clinton kind of answer.
Depends on what the meaning of the word Max is.
Another reference these kids aren't going to get.
There's a gentleman right behind you. You could just hand it to him.
These 90s references have just been awesome. I just want to say.
A lot of 90s references.
Thanks. There's a question for Harrison. I know that Telltale Games' strength relies a lot in the choices that people make. When building a game and an interactive story, how do you decide the pivotal choices that a character has to make? Where along the line is this is an important choice that a character really needs to think about before they make it?
That is literally a question we could just sit in workshop for an entire day. There's no simple answer to that question. I said this at the other panel we did this morning, but game design is partially just behavioral psychology and sort of learning to understand human beings and why we like certain things and hate certain things and want certain things and don't want other things. So there's no there's no like formula. There's never like every 15 minutes we need to have an interesting choice. We just write a great story and put characters in really crazy situations and say, if I was here and like Fiona's a real person and I was Fiona, what would I do? And a lot of times we just argue, and if like two people in the room just like, there's no way you would ever do that. Are you crazy? I would never do that. And the other person says the exact opposite. We're like, write that down. That is a great choice. But there's like, yeah, there's no secret to it. There's no like mathematic formula that Telltale like checks on the board. It's just, as a player and as a person, like what would I be doing in this really difficult situation? And we just keep trying to give those to the player, and not like, even though we only record everything, but we only show 5 of them, or 4 or 5 at the end of the episode. Everything that you guys do is being tracked by the game and by Telltale, and we're sort of getting to know the player. And Kevin did a great talk on this morning. Like, we get to getting to know the player behind the screen. That's how we make our games work. So I don't know if that's kind of a runaround. I don't mean it to be. I hope I answered the question. Like, there's no real secret to it. We just try and come up with a story that we love and put the characters in difficult situations, and then know what would Reese do here? Like, what would this guy, knowing what I know about this guy, would he flip a dude off? Would he like punch him in the face? Like, would he shoot him in the face? Like, what would he do? And then we just try and make both choices interesting. We don't want like do interesting thing and nothing. Like, we try and make 2 interesting choices that you don't know which one you want because you want to do both of them, and then you rewind and do it again.
I always really appreciate the stats at the end of every episode of like seeing what other people that have played the game, what choices they made. That I think that's such an amazing, and it is behavioral psychology. It's what people choose to do in these situations. Is there anything you've ever come up with that's too that you're like, no, we can't do this?
I bet we have. I have, and then didn't tell Kevin.
It makes for definitely makes for some interesting brainstorming sessions. And then you kind of got to drive home at the end of the day and sit in your car for about 15 minutes before you can go into your house and
take a shame shower.
There's nothing off limits. And with Borderlands, it's been nice to get back to comedy and outrageousness and just the most ridiculous, funny thing or bizarre twist you can put on it, because we've been mired in the horrible things that happened to Lee and Clementine. And like a lot of people know, Gary Whitta worked on, and I can tell you from personal experience, Gary Whitta is sick. There is something wrong with that man. But no, we don't really think anything's off limits. As long as we're telling a great story, we tend to go there.
It seems to me the way you guys in Walking Dead made decisions was, whatever you choose, you're gonna feel is the wrong thing to do. Like, whatever I chose, I felt bad about, and that it just kept me like really like into the game, wanting to do the right thing.
Yeah, like I like to think Walking Dead's just a big series of like lose-lose situations, and.
I think we have time for 2 more questions. Let's go with the guy on the end there. I'm like, you in the hoodie and the glasses. Never mind, that's everyone.
Not wearing a hoodie.
Also, it's a blazer, but
I can't tell from here. I apologize.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys could talk about like characterizing the way that your collaboration is working. Like, are you guys like sharing assets? Because I mean, one of the things that was fun about when I had my like Star Wars cards when I was a kid, right, is like someone found like a pre-production sketch from a prop that's in the background of a scene somewhere and like wrote a whole story about it. But like that requires really deep collaboration. And then also like, how does it go in the day-to-day? Like, do you bounce ideas off of each other? Do you guys actually like write stuff for each other? Do you like share original assets? Like, how does it work?
We are terribly protective of Borderlands, and we have many people who've been interested in working with us. Frankly, we love these guys and we love their work. We are giving them the assets they request just as quick as we can. Anthony and I have flown out there, and several others of us have flown out several times, and they come out to visit us. We go over this story. It's their baby. When this thing comes out and you think it's great, this is them. We're doing everything we can to support it. We want to keep it in canon, so we want to make sure that what happens or doesn't happen is something that has true weight and value. The collaboration is hopefully going fairly smoothly.
It's definitely been really great. I mean, these guys come over, or we go visit them, as Matt said, and we just say, "What do you think of this?" and just get a feeling for like, is that does that feel like Borderlands? Does it feel like something that could happen in this world? Does it feel like something that characters that exist in that world would do, would say, reactions? Like, do these things feel like they have a place here? And it's been really, I mean, these guys have been great. And sometimes it's just an email or just like a quick, like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, I'm not sure about this. Or it's like a long sort of like, a longer, long-form sort of process, just walking through the season or whatever. But it's been really, really productive, and we work well together. So
it's been really enjoyable also to talk about what the world's like after the events of Borderlands 2, because when you get through it, it's actually pretty huge series of events that have changed the landscape of the planet, and we can get into the character of that. We can get into, so what's up with Hyperion now? Well, we have a character from Hyperion. What's that mean when someone from Hyperion comes to Pandora after Borderlands 2? It's not the same thing. It's great to have that character experiencing the new reality at the same time that the player experiences the new reality, and it's also great to understand that your actions in Borderlands 2 had consequences. So we're really enjoying being able to present that on a much more intimate and direct and storytelling level, which is the thing that we can do in a Telltale game. We have some really cool story and some ideas, but we're limited inherently because we're making a first-person shooter. It's got to be fun action all the time. We can't really get into deeper conversations or what life is like on a day-to-day basis. And it's really enjoyable for us to really get into what's the impact of these Vault Hunters on this planet, because they're like a force of nature. They're so powerful, and they've had such an impact on the world and the universe. So it's a really neat thing for us.
And you're just getting a hint of when Anthony was talking about the expanded Star Wars universe, and you see Matt's passion when he starts talking about it, the depth at which these guys know the Borderlands universe
and love the Borderlands
is amazing, and barely the games themselves feel like the tip of the iceberg from what's going on in their heads, and being able to mine that and present it to you guys in a medium that kind of works outside of just pure first-person shooter is an amazing opportunity. It is an incredibly rich, very deeply defined world.
It's so awesome to see two companies that are both so passionate about what they're doing kind of working together. I don't know, it's been amazing just listening to you guys. And we have one last question, Dr. Orange Shirts.
Make it a good one.
If this game is set after Borderlands 2, how is Handsome Jack in it? And will we see any Vault Hunters in the Tales from the Borderlands?
Those are really good questions.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, how is Handsome Jack in it, you guys?
We're not ready to talk about Handsome Jack's involvement. You saw him in the trailer. That wasn't by accident, but we're not ready to talk about Handsome Jack.
So wait,
Handsome Jack,
somebody's gonna have to explain.
He's dead. Spoilers. He died.
Dead is dead, man. Dead is dead.
And yes, you will see some Vault Hunters for sure.
Definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming. I want to thank all these guys for coming and talking to you guys. Tales from the Borderlands. Buy it when it comes out.
You'll find out 20 minutes before it does, right?